What's up, everyone? If you want to support the pod, please subscribe to it on Apple Podcasts or iTunes and Spotify and all those spots. And please like, rate, and review it wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, please spread the word with all your friends. Share the thing on social media, etc., etc. That is what helps the pod. If you want to go the extra mile, you can go to patreon.com/185 miles south and become a monthly patron. That really helps out the show. Those are the people that keep it alive. And everything's linked up on the website, 185milessouth.com. So you can go there. It's got all the archives and got a bunch of other shit. I'll start building it out more and more. But that's kind of like the catch-all for everything. It's got the Patreon link. It's got all the shows. It's got the Hall of Fame. It's got just some other shit. So go check that out, 185milessouth.com. And let's get on with the show.
I'm from fucking Oxnard, bitch.
Okay, what? What is this? What is this, Oxford?
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
This week on the pod, we got the man, Todd Jones, back again. What's up, dude?
Hey. What's happening?
What's going on? All right, so we were chatting, and like many people out there in these quarantine times, we're just fucking bored. And you're like, let's just do a pod and have some fun, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I like to do like the serious ones, like of laying out people's history, because I am trying to like be on kind of that boring tip for the interviews, like just have it saturated with information. And you did such a good job because you're so good with like dates and so forth. I feel like people really got the Todd Jones experience there, but we got to show them that you can lighten up and field like all sorts of crazy shit.
Oh, I would love that. I'd love just to talk about music and just whatever else is going on. Not talk about myself.
Yeah. And then we outlined a couple topics that we thought we were both like pretty knowledgeable to talk on, and hopefully we don't make fools of ourselves. So let's jump right into it. It's a hard hitting, very serious question, dude. Which Rancor 7-inch was better, the first one or the second one?
The first one for sure. I thought the first one had like a kind of like a youthful energy to it. It just sounded like they were just kind of going for it, whereas the second one sounded like they were like trying to go for something a little bit more polished. And I like the energy of the first one a little bit more. Yeah,
the first one has like a little more wildness, right?
Yeah, more sing-alongs and just I don't want to say silly, but I guess youthful energy might be the best word, but it's a word in between those two. I don't know what it would
They're
be.
Walking that line though, right? Tougher than a Tonka truck. You can't run because you're out of luck.
Dude, that's the best line. Tougher. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also that's the song. That song was on the demo too, right? And they made it better because like that the X is on my hand, won't take part. The X is on my hand. It's all slow on the demo.
Yeah, it actually that is an example of where something was improved on the 7-inch. That demo sounded kind of muddy anyway, but it did have some good songs on it.
Yeah. I like the second 7-inch a lot though. Like I think that they're writing like a little. I guess it's a little more straightforward, a little more predictable. But the songs are good. The first song on that second 7-inch is the shit. I love it.
It's called Hardcore 97 or something, right?
Something like that. You know.
You know what I really liked from that kind of group of people in that time frame was the Over the Line demo. Do you remember that?
Yes. But it was a weird one because it came out like a little after the fact, right?
It came out in 97, I'm pretty sure, but it was just one of those things where it was a side project to those guys, and they did that demo, and I think it was repressed by Crucial Response Record like years after the fact, but I think it was one of those bands where by the time a couple months after it came out, they were already like too cool for school. Like they weren't playing in the band anymore.
Yeah. I think that by the time like I got the 7-inch, they weren't playing anymore. So then like,
that's true.
You know, that just, when you're like 17, like that takes away a little bit of the excitement because hardcore is like so much participation when you're young, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you want to see the bands that you're listening to.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
You want to,
like whenever I got a record, my first hope was like, oh, I hope they come to California and I could see them play at a show.
yeah, or like you listen to shit like just talking about that Rancor thing, like when it hits that chorus, like that gang chorus at the end, you're like almost picturing yourself like that's right where I'm going to stage dive.
Yeah, exactly. That was going to shows is such a big part of even just listening to hardcore.
Yeah. All right. How about this one, dude? What's your favorite Back to Basics release?
Ooh. Well, I can only think of a couple. One was the 25 to Life demo 7-inch.
Yes.
Then there was the E-Town Concrete CD that he put out, right?
Yeah, well, I think he did. It was a E-Town Concrete split, maybe with Second to None. That might have been what it was.
I don't go too deep in the Back to Basics, but didn't he reissue Time to Shine, or am I mistaken?
He may have. I'm not up on my CD game.
I'm not either. If that came out on Back to Basics, it's that one. But otherwise, it's probably the Hood's demo 7-inch or something.
Yeah, he did the Hoods one too, and that one's great. The two that I think you should check out if you haven't heard was the Fat Nuts 7 inches.
What's that all about?
It's just fucking good hardcore, dude. I didn't even hear it until like maybe 4 years ago, and I'm like,
who's in it?
I have no idea. It's just New York dudes. And like they may have just done a couple 7 inches. Like I don't know what I'm speaking about here. I just know that they're like the two Back to Basics gems. And you can get it. Let me check. I can pull it up real quick. I bet you they're still like $5 records. So, but it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's cool he put out the Hoods, huh? In like 95.
Yeah, that is. I wonder, when was the first time the 25 to Life came to California? I mean, it was probably like a year or two before we got into hardcore.
I don't know if they came before we saw them, Todd. Like I've
Really?
never heard stories of them being out before that. Yeah.
Because they came in 98. That would have been summer of 98.
Yeah, they came like when they were touring on the Strength Through Unity record. Yeah.
Fuck, that record is so good.
Dude, the drumming is so good. I remember so we saw them obviously in Ojai, and then did you go to Showcase or did you go to San Diego?
I went to Showcase. It was me, Chris Grande, and Fredette.
Yeah. You guys went and saw them again at Showcase, and then I went to San Diego that weekend because the night you saw 25 to Life at Showcase, I saw Bad Religion play Canes, I think. And so I had to see 25 to Life again like the night before. I saw them play San Diego Showcase, and like, dude, their drummer was so insane. There was literally like 10 dudes like circling the drum riser, like watching him. You know, like they were a legit ass band at that time.
I remember being at the Showcase Theater and their guitar player, Fred Mesk, like going into the pit and just being like, wow, this is fucking crazy. Because to me, that guy looked like your average guy from New York City. Like,
yeah, that guy
I had no idea what those people looked like. He just looked like an animal. Yeah,
well, we were like 18. That dude looked like a grown ass man. Like he will literally like pick up a brick and throw it at you.
Yeah, he's a pretty intimidating guy. There was only like 100 people at that show. And one of the things I remember that I was like taken aback by, like, I don't know what your memories were of the Showcase Theater. We haven't really talked about this, but it seemed like every Showcase Theater show I went to, like fucking 18 Visions was opening. And it was like, why they were like on their demo or whatever. And one thing I remember was being weirded out that like them and all their friends were going like ape shit for 25 to Life. And I was like, this is unexpected. I didn't expect these guys to be into this band, but they were like part of the people that were going nuts for 25 to Life at that show.
Yeah. Well, they came down for the San Diego one too. And I remember, yeah, they were going nuts, especially for the last song on that CD, like the, "You disrespect my crew" or whatever. Like, cause that was that's when Monster Crew was full force. Like, I guess that song resonated. They
connected with that.
That song resonated, you know?
Dude, that whole CD is so fucking good. It's still good to this day. You know, a lot of those late 90s records didn't really stand the test of time, but I could say that 25 to Life record did, and they're keeping it real. That record's pretty fucking good still.
Yeah, those two. they're especially the Keeping It Real one is like the one. Is that the one with like the jail on it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's like one of the greatest like monotone hardcore like metally records there is. Like it is so fucking monotone and brutal. You know, it's awesome. The Strength Through Unity has a little bit more flair to it. But yeah, the Keeping It Real is just like, I don't know, it almost sounds like just everything is fucking triggered, but it's like so brutal.
It's one of those records that has like so many like New York hardcore inflections of like the early 90s that it's like when I think of that stuff, those records kind of epitomize that for me more so than like maybe someone like Biohazard or Demise.
Yeah, like that. How about that one song that just starts like it's like it just starts with that weird bass part and then never comes back to it. It's like, that's fucking sick.
I'm not surprised you referenced that because that was the first thing I was thinking of too.
So Todd, you were in luck. Fat Nuts Setting It Straight, only $1.65 on Discogs.
I'm gonna have to go YouTube it after this conversation. I legitimately can't wait because there are a lot of great gems like that are just hidden that you could find.
Yeah, and then Fat Nuts Bloodsport, the second 7-inch, only $2.20. So the trick is try to find a guy that has them both so you can combine shipping.
Yeah.
That's the move. That's a good ass mail day, dude. If you get both Fat Nuts 7 inches, and you gotta race this episode. We're recording on May 1st. I think it'll come out in a week or two. So you gotta race the people, dude, because they're gonna be on those Fat Nuts Discogs 7 inches.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump into the meat of what we wanted to talk about. You wanted to talk a little bit about Laser Star and the Living Room, which were two of the most important show venues for like our era of coming up in the late 90s. Laser Star was a laser tag like business, and then they just had like an open party room, you know, where you'd have like, you know, a bunch of tables and shit because kids would have pizza parties. So you order a pizza and you go into the party room. And there was a little stage too. And I don't remember if that stage was always there because I remember In My Eyes being on the ground. But anyway, it's just like an open room. And for whatever reason, they let us do shows there for a couple years. And it feels like it was a long time, but I think it was only a year and a half, dude. So, but let's talk about Laser Star.
Yeah, I can't remember how long it was open for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first show, though, we believe was the In My Eyes show, correct?
No, I went there before, and I remember seeing Eat Shit and Die, Graham's first band that he played drums in. But like the first like hardcore show, I would say that it was the In My Eyes show, and Voice of Defiance played that, right?
Nah, Fred just put us on the flyer.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I think No Motive played though. I think it was only two bands. It was just In My Eyes and No Motive.
I didn't go to that show because at the time I don't know if you remember this, but that show happened like on a whim's notice. Like it was pretty much announced that day that the show was happening. And I had plans to hang out with my girlfriend at the time. And I remember really wanting to go to that show, but also, I don't know. I didn't tell my girlfriend that I was canceling on her and going to go to that show. I don't know why, but I actually didn't go to that.
I can't hate, dude, because that's exactly why I missed every show in '96.
Yeah, but the thing I remember most about Laser Star is that we had some insanely well attended shows, like packed fucking shows there, and it was largely due to the fact that we flyered our high school.
Yep, flyered one high school. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't even go and flyer everywhere else.
Well, we probably went to like Salzer's and Record Outlet and put flyers up at that place. But you're right. I mean, we just flyered the hell out of our high school, and then we have like 250 to 350 like people, high school kids who just want to slam dance, mixed with like 20 to 30 hardcore kids.
I know, it's absolutely insane. But
yeah,
we've talked about it off and on in the podcast. Just like kind of Ventura County is a pretty like musical like area, You know, like a lot of times, like if you have a party, you're gonna have a band. You know, it's just kind of like ingrained in the culture a little bit. So like something to do, like, oh, let's go watch bands. Like people don't really, maybe they didn't question. And when you're in high school, you just want to go see anything, right? And then if you get to go see a bunch of aggro dudes like slamming, even better.
Yeah, it was perfect for people of that age who just wanted to leave their house and go do something exciting or go do something a little bit different.
Yeah. How many different security guards did you sock at Laser Star?
I think only one.
Only one?
I can't remember, man. I had a chip on my shoulder.
But that guy got it twice then, if it was only one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, what am I, a 16-year-old kid who weighs 150 pounds, going to do to anybody, really?
Yeah. You know, what was amazing about that show is just, or about the place was, sometimes like the biggest shows were like ones that you wouldn't know that would be the biggest. Although, you know what? You think the Show of Hands show that Nerve Agents was going to play, that was the biggest one, right?
Yeah. It was one of those, but there was I remember I was flyering for the 97A show that we did, and I was flyering some show, and it was like beyond packed, and it was just like local bands. Like it was no bands I've ever heard of or went to before, but it was just a lot of fucking people. But the Nerve Agent show is probably the biggest one we did. That was just packed wall to wall. I don't ever remember them denying people in though. Like they would just charge you $5 or $10 and you just go inside. Yeah. No matter how packed.
Yeah. When we did the Ray Hughes benefit, that one was huge too. And that was like Voice and Black Opal, I think.
Yeah, I remember that too. That was big for our high school. A lot of people came out for that one for sure too.
Yeah, it was fucked up too, because like this dude died and I spelled his name wrong on the flyer.
Oh, oof. Really?
Oof.
That sucks. And he was leaving a party from one of our friends' house that we played music with too.
Yeah, well, it's a fucked up story. Basically, he's our friend in high school. He lived like a real clean life, like just into basketball, kind of like a Christian dude. And then, yeah, he fell off like one day, went to a ditch party, got like drunk the first time in his life, and was driving home those back roads from like Camarillo, and went head on with some lady and killed himself and killed her. And then,
well, the lady was also the driving instructor. She gave him. That's one thing you're leaving out is the person that he collided with was his driving instructor.
Yeah, yeah. That's the crazy thing. I was saving that part for last.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all good. I mean, that's why the story is so fucked up. Yeah, he killed his own driving instructor, and tragically, like she was a single mom on the way to pick up her kid from school. But still, it's just sad. Like I don't know. That's I've thought about that a lot over the last like 20 plus years. Just because people turn on him so hard after that, and it's literally you can like live like 20 years or 8, whatever he was at the time, 17 years of living a good life, and you make like one fucking 30-minute bad mistake decision, and it's like everything is wiped away. It's fucking
it's
brutal.
Tough. It is.
Yeah. Well, score 1 for the straight edge on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that show is huge. So I found this this archive, like some old GeoCities stuff is saved, and some dude used to write some show reviews for Laser Star, and this is kind of good. So this show was sick. This was on. It was on. Let's see. Was it Easter of '99? Powerhouse and Blood for Blood at Laser Star, and Voice of Defiance opening.
That was an amazing show.
Yeah, Voice opening, and it was after I left, so it was like I got to see him play without me. That was cool. But
you booked that show.
Did I? I think Aaron might have.
Did Aaron? Because it wasn't me, and so I just figured. I always thought if I didn't book the show, it was you.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it might have been me. Yeah, I don't know. It was like a lot of that stuff was like a group effort, you know.
let me ask you a question. So Powerhouse and Blood for Blood play on Easter. When was the Buried Alive All Out War Reach the Sky show?
I think that was in the summertime. Because I remember that summer was dreadful for shows, except for like you did the 97A show, and I think that there was probably, you think there was 75 people?
Yeah, like 90 to 70 people, somewhere in that range. And the Easter show and that summer show that you're talking about were pretty similar. Like they were not heavily attended shows when I think we were probably all expecting them to be, just because shows for the previous year were so good.
Yeah, I think that the Powerhouse Blood for Blood might have been on the par of that 97A show, but that the Buried Alive, it was Buried Alive All Out War, Reach the Sky, Committed, and Burden. I think it was a million fucking bands that like all converged together. I don't think there was more. Sense. I don't think there was more than 30 people there.
Yeah, that was August 99 because those Committed guys were staying at my house at the time. I do remember that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm trying to like, it's hard to fucking figure out how to go around this dude's archive because I want to see what else he's got. But yeah, I don't know.
Is it Matthew?
It might be. I don't know. It doesn't put his name on here. But dude, Blood for Blood at Laser Star was sick. And of course Powerhouse is always sick. I mean, they were like, we adopted them, you know? Like
we would go to like Atascadero to see them. Like I think you were their biggest like fan. And you know, wherever you drove to shows, as long as there was a seat in your car, you know, I was there. So I remember going to a lot of Powerhouse shows with you. But dude, the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life, I heard from their drummer. And it wasn't Jay. Like they had like a skinny Caucasian guy drumming for them at that show. Uh-huh. And he said they were, you know, they got there early for load in, and then they were like, all right, well, we want to go eat. Where can we go eat? And then the drummer was like, Chinese food is just like a blowjob. Even when it's bad, it's still good. And I'd never heard that joke before, and I was just like fucking blown away. I was like, wow.
I've heard it, but I've heard it used for pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's interchangeable with pizza and Chinese food, and it's like even just like a blowjob, even when it's bad, it's still good. and I was like, holy shit, these guys are fucking crazy. Like I just thought they were like in my like 17 or 18-year-old mind, I was like, wow, these guys from Oakland they're just another breed of nuts. I got to stay away from these guys, but I always love their band.
Yeah. This they were a wild bunch because I remember, like, I don't know if we ever saw it, but they said that Jay used to like play. He wasn't comfortable using like a seat, like a stool, a drum stool. He had to sit on a bucket, like a Home Depot bucket. Like that was like the perfect height and support for him. It's like I wish I would have seen that because he's such a wild man.
That's so amazing. Like, you know, those drum thrones cost hundreds. They can cost hundreds of dollars. And, you know, someone like that is just like, yeah, I'm good with a bucket. Gives me the perfect posture I need.
I know. Yeah. Here's so cool. Here's another good one. This is from May 7th, 99. Throwdown, Impoached, Third Degree, Death by Stereo, and Insist at Laser Star.
Josh Belcher booked that show.
Dude, that's a wild one. I don't remember it all, but I had to have been there if Impoached played.
The Third Degree. I remember that show pretty vividly, actually. You know who was supposed to play that show was 18 Visions, but they canceled, so Throwdown played instead. But Josh Belcher booked that show, and in Third Degree, there was like a period of like a year or two where they would come up and play Oxnard, and then when Laser Star was gone and we had Ojai, they came and played Ojai. And I remember it was either at that Ojai show or that Laser Star show. They were so psyched because Third Degree was like a perfect band for Oxnard. They were just like straight up like mid-tempo driving punk, like sing-along shit. And everybody, like that show that you're talking about, it wasn't like really well attended. There were some people there, but like everybody was slamming for Third Degree. And I think even Third Degree was like, we're going to be from Oxnard now or something like that. Like
yeah.
They loved it.
Yeah, they came up a couple times, and they played the first In Control show, which was the last show at Laser Star. I think that might have just been Third Degree, In Control, and I think Carry On. No,
I can't remember. I was at that show though. You were wearing a Mystic Records shirt.
Yeah,
right.
And I don't remember much about that show, which is weird. But I do remember the like 18 Visions is on the flyer, and they didn't play. 18 Visions and Throwdown are on the flyer, and neither of them played. And I think it was just, and Josh Belcher booked that show for sure. And so, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that was a pretty good show, and that was like the final one there. And I think that, yeah, it was just like 98 and 99, and that's a wrap, because that show would have been like October of 99, I think, the first In Control show, and that's the last one. So
dude, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that you guys, In Control starts like a new kind of like a new era of things, and your first show is like the last at Laser Star, and it's pretty cool. Like it's in 1999 as opposed to 2000. I don't know. I think that shit's cool.
Yeah, I think that so obviously it's terrible timing for the band, right? Because you start and then you lose your home venue,
yeah.
But at least we got to play once, and then I would say that it forced us to be really, really active in the year 2000, like playing like the whole circuit of like the Shea and the PCH and the Cobalt and the Headline Records, and basically just like playing anywhere you can because there's nothing at home,
Yeah, that was you were very, very, very driven when you started In Control. It's like I don't want to say you had a chip on your shoulder, but you had like a fucking mission.
Yep, and that was it. Just to play PCH as many times as we could. So, yeah, and then so let's talk about the living room, and then also go into Ojai. I think that we mapped out. I was so like satisfied when we talked that one night, and we were like our living room lineage matched up.
Yeah.
Because like it's been fucking with my head for a long time, and like every time I talk to someone different, they have a different memory of it. So can we recreate it? It started at the one, like the Glida off of Hollister. That's the first one that we remember, right?
Yeah, that's where we first recorded, and also I like Good Riddance record release show for Comprehensive Guide to Modern Rebellion, or at least they played that living room when they first put out that record.
Yeah, I was there for that show, and then we did a show there, Todd. Remember when like I booked Tilt Wheel and they no-showed?
Yeah, Last Chance's last show. FAY played.
Yes, so FAY Last Chance and Against All Odds. And so we played there. That was fucking rad. And then, we recorded there. And then like, I don't have many more memories of there. And then so it moves to the...
You have one more. You have Ill Repute, No Motive, and The Choice.
Yes.
That was a rad show, dude. That was fucking packed, dude. Everybody was slamming, and The Choice, like, you know how they're like kind of like they're like very in like their oi world or whatever. But I remember, we would go to shows with anybody at the time. There was a lot of people just from our high school who weren't necessarily like, they weren't really diehard punk or hardcore people or whatever, but they were just down to go to shows, and they would slam and shit. And they were definitely into punk and into music, but it was like. Everybody liked The Choice at that show. Everybody was slamming.
Are you sure that was the original one though, or
that was the original one? Okay. Yeah, I'm positive. Yeah, because I remember watching like Max and shit like on the side of the stage and shit.
Okay, yeah, because I saw Ill Repute at. Yeah, no, you're right though, because that was like when it was the Bleed. It was Ill Repute doing like the Bleed shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and then so it goes over to the other one, which is like the one where it was at like kind of the longest. And I don't remember.
Yeah, the actual venue space was like a Oh no, it's in the shopping center. Are we talking about the shopping center?
Yeah, the shopping center one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true.
The one that like, and then it like they stopped doing it there, and then it just moves literally next door to that place called Sniffy's. Do you remember? That's because next door is where we saw Madball and Earth Crisis.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the one next door to that, I think, is where it was basically like where it went second, and then also where it ended.
Yes.
Because he was definitely there early because Voice of Defiance recorded both of our 7-inches at that one. So
Yeah, okay.
It Doesn't Matter and Against All Odds recorded at the first living room. Then Voice recorded at that second living room. And then
Stand Your Ground also recorded there.
Yeah, and the Stand Your Ground demo, which would have been 98?
December 90, probably not. Yeah, early
December
98.
97? Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then it either goes to Sniffy's or it goes to that little skinny one by the airport.
Yeah, I feel like it went. Did it die with the skinny one at the airport? Was that the last one or no?
Nah, because it came back to the second one again. Because that was the one where it ended. Because do you remember, like, Steve Aoki did that benefit show for the Pickle Patch?
Yeah.
That was kind of like at the end. That was close to the end because, like, after like the Pickle Patch went and the living room went kind of like closely after, and then there was just nothing really Santa Barbara.
Okay, so the Intense Energy show was one of the last shows there, then, right?
Yes, yeah, I think so.
And that was like December 2000.
Yes, yeah, but then we also played. Well, I don't know. That show would have been that benefit for the Pickle Patch would have been later, and we played with Ill Repute there later. So maybe the living room went out in like 02, 03, 02 probably.
Okay,
02?
yeah.
But memories of that third one, like that skinny one by the airport, that like those are kind of cool too because like we saw E-Town there, which was great. And then
E-Town played with Ensign there, and then Carry On did that show where they played to basically just us, and they made that live tape there. And then I saw Los Crudos play there to like 30 people.
Los Crudos played there to 30 people?
To 30 fucking... Yeah, just straight up. Like you would figure like Ebullition and Goleta, so that's going to be like their bread and butter, but there was like hardly fucking anybody there. And then you remember Chuck he started like slamming and people got pissed. Like they were just not into it at all, which is, this is so fucking dumb. But, that was summer of 98 then, right?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can line the lineage up because it's that, it's the Carry On tape that never came out. The missing gem for all the huge Carry On fans out there. There's a tape floating out there. Well, it's been successfully locked down for 20 something years, but it's really fucking good.
Yeah, it has like 6 unreleased songs on it. But there's definitely some Oxnard folks who have that tape. Like I think they only sold that tape at a show they played in Oxnard. Like I bet Chris Holden has one, and I don't know, or who's to say he has it now, but just our circle of people kind of picked those up, and it was never really to be seen again.
Oh, I never realized like they actually put it up.
It was like they made like 10. I think it was like really limited,
super limited pre-internet, so it never got like hooked up. Yeah. So that's the living room, fucking super crucial. If just for that stuff, right? Like John Lyons documenting things, like, I mean, that's 3 of my bands got to record there, and then Stand Your Ground did the demo there, which I was able to be a part of later. And so like, that's so crucial. Like just there being a studio for us to record this, like affordable for kids, because
I wonder where else we would have gone if we couldn't have gone there.
I don't know, because like when did the Shannon dude from T4, I think he popped up. That's where we did our 7-inch. Where did you do the Carry On 7-inch?
The Line Is Drawn was also done with Shannon when he was in Simi Valley at that time, right?
Yes. And then, but where did you do the next one?
Oh, Double Time. So, I'm just like between like 97 and 99. I didn't know of really any studios that, I mean, I'm sure we would have found one because that's just what we wanted to do. But having the living room so accessible was such an awesome thing for the whole scene, really.
Well, it was so cheap, right? Like the first time we went there was $10 an hour, and the last time I recorded there it was $20 an hour. So like that's fucking dirt cheap, dude. And like, yeah, I wonder what the Stand Your Ground 7-inch costs to record. Did you ever know?
We recorded the 7-inch at For the Record, and the demo was recorded at the living room.
No, I know. That's why I'm curious about like what it costs us to record that For the Record, because we weren't really quick either. Like we probably spent 12, 14 hours.
Yeah, we got a 12-hour session. I think at that time, a 12-hour session cost anywhere between like $600 and $800, which was insanely expensive to me at the time. You know, I wasn't really making money like that, and I didn't have any studio experience, so I didn't know like what was typical.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is like, if only studios like that would have been around when we were like 17, there would have been like a real barrier to entry. You know, where we were actually able to go and like record in the living room and get our stuff out.
That's true. We probably just would have found a buddy who had a 4-track and just, you know, had like a inferior recording to something that we could have got done at the living room.
Yeah, but
not
John,
inferior.
Like,
that's not the right word, is it?
Don't you think that recording with John Lyons like made you a better musician? Like because there was no like feedback. You know, you'd be like, how he would ask you. You'd get done recording the song and he'd be like, how was that? You're like, I don't know. I hope it was good.
Well, I don't know if I looked at it like that. I think I left his studio feeling just as confused as I did before I got there. Like in situations like that, you don't really learn anything about being in the studio. Like it was truly a situation where you go plug in, play, and then you leave with your disc or your tape or whatever. And you know, maybe that's why it was so cheap. You know, that was just his method and his way of doing things. But yeah, that was a really good time.
Yeah. Well, I just think that like you had to have your chops up when you went in, because like, you know, the first time you go in there, of course you don't know what to expect. But once you're on your third time going to Lions, like you know exactly what it's going to be like. So you got to practice before you go, you know, like you can't fix it in the studio.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a possible. I didn't know what a punch-in was then. That definitely wasn't like what John Lyons was trying to do either. It was just straight up live recording, and yeah, it was. I don't want to say it was primitive, but it was. I don't know. It was good.
Yeah, I don't know if we could punch in with Shannon either. I think like.
Oh really?
I don't know like what. I don't think I could ever punch in until Roger. And now, like, I don't know if I could ever even record without Roger.
Dude, Roger was so good when he started, like when we did that Stand Your Ground demo, that was like, at that point, that was definitely the best thing I had recorded. And, you know, it was recorded in his house. Yeah,
it came out so good for him being like so early, huh? Like it actually bumps.
He has a knack for that recording stuff. I mean, it just goes to show that he did something that good, like with, I don't know, you know, at that age, I can't really say he had a whole ton of experience, but it sounded really good. What was the other? I was going to think of some other studio place I was going to try to bring up, but I can't remember it. I mean, there's Goldmine Studios in Ventura. That's been there since the 70s, but I think Dr. No recorded Wreckage and Flesh there, or maybe they recorded This Island Earth there. And I don't know. Did you ever hear that studio when you were younger or a teenager? Because it wasn't like something that our type of bands went and recorded at.
No, that was like never on our radar, and I don't know why. Is that where the Instead Betrayed Retaliate show was?
No, that was at that. I can't remember what facility that was at. It was somewhere off of Main Street, next to the mall. But I've never actually been to Goldmine Studios. I think it's somewhere by Salzer's, but towards the video area. But I've never been there. I just had a thought that I wanted to share. There was. I can't remember where that Instead show was.
For what, the Instant?
No, Instead, like the show you just referenced. I'm not sure where that was, but I don't think it was Goldmine. Yeah,
it was just at some little studio again that I'd never like been to in Ventura.
But you know what else is crazy that that wasn't on our radar? I don't think when we were teenagers is Golden Mastering, John Golden Mastering. It was right next to Henson's Music Store in Ventura, which it's not Henson's anymore, but I think it was a furniture place. But John Golden Mastering, I've been there. I think Betrayed mastered our record there, and that's a legitimately famous mastering place. Like John Golden's a famous mastering guy. He did a lot of the early SST catalog and just a ton of shit.
That sucks. It slipped past us. And how about also on the Boulevard, we got Tetro. Like, I wish we could have
that theater.
There. Yeah. Supposedly, like, inside is just, like, the most insane professional recording studio. Like, there's a whole Willie Nelson album called that, and Tetro is, like, on the cover.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So who records out of there? Like, I guess who owns and operates the facility? I
have no idea. Maybe, if you talk a little bit, I can try to Discogs it.
Yeah, see, that would be some like that would be like for any band really from Oxnard. Like, wouldn't it be awesome to go record like at a legendary legacy Oxnard studio? I mean, I knew that Tetro existed. I knew just from being a person in Oxnard. It was on Oxnard Boulevard, and it was a theater that was, you know, non-operational as far as I knew, but I had no idea there was an actual studio in there until like the past 5 or 10 years. It's pretty big shock.
Yeah, let's see if Discogs gives us anything here. Not really. They recorded it in 98 at Tetro. That's all it says. But it's like it's not all linked up. I was hoping like, you know, it like have Tetro as like the link, and then I can see everything that's there. Oh, here we go. Mixed at Tetro Studios. Okay, Bob Dylan did an album in 97 there. Neil Young did an album in 2015. Iggy Pop, 2005. Bob Dylan, 97. Yeah, crazy,
all those people are probably tied together in some way. Like, there's probably like a manager that manages those guys who sends them to that studio. I'm going to do some investigation after this phone call. I want to see who like operates that studio and see what the rates are and see what kind of gear they got in there. It would be pretty sick to track a record in Oxnard.
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers did a single there, Around the World. So shout out Joe Rivas.
Oh shit! Is Joe a RHCP fan?
A little bit, I think.
I love the Chili Peppers, man. I always have and I always will. I think they're great.
That's cool. They're like my other than let me think. I probably hate them more than any other band.
Do you hate them more than Fugazi?
Oh, I like Fugazi. I just don't think they're a hardcore band. But yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers probably right up there with like later Aerosmith. You know, those are like the two, like 1990 and beyond Aerosmith. So.
Oh man, yeah, no, they're not. They're a very hated band. I'm well aware.
But they got jams, dude. That song off the Conehead soundtrack gets me in the feels. So I like that one. So yeah, that's the living room. I feel like we talked about it, and now let's move on to Ojai. And this was a big one for you because like this is on the West Coast. Carry On, you guys had your best shows here and probably Gilman, right?
I'd have to assume so without thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, Ojai was amazing. The first time I ever went to Ojai was because Carry On played there, and it was a daytime show, and I want to say it was probably like either like December of 2000 or maybe like the first 4 months of 2001. And Craig Goris, rest in peace, booked us on the show. I can't remember who was on the show, but it was a daytime show. And I remember showing up there and being like, fuck, this place is perfect. I have to get my fucking dirty mitts on here and bring hardcore bands to this place.
Yeah. I mean, it was perfect. It was just like, I don't know, to describe it to people, I guess it's like a big playhouse because like the stage was like legitimate. So it's like they could have done real plays there. That had to be what the stage was for, right?
Yeah. So it was basically like, it looked like a house from the street, but it had like a parking around it. So it just basically looked like a house. And then you go into the front door, there's like a little foyer room, and then the next room is just like a big. I don't know. I would you say it was square or would you say it was rectangle?
I would say it was squared off, right? Like maybe the big room was a little rectangle because you had that adjacent room. Yeah, it was like the kitchen thing, but I mean, for a club, it was set up perfect because you come in, and it's like the landing area where you walk in, it's like wide enough that there was like a legit ass merch area that was like outside of the show space. So you don't have to worry about your merch getting moshed. Plus it can be in the light, and you can still like dim the lights in the show space. Then the show space probably holds 200 comfortably.
Yeah. I would say that. 150, 200 comfortably. Anything bigger than that, and you have a raging show.
Yeah. I mean, like maybe that Bane show, there was like 300 plus.
That was the most. I think that was the most attended show. Bane and 25 to Life.
Yeah, how ill is that? Like, because that was total 25 to Life, like jumping on the show.
Yeah, who was the woman who did that show? Was her name Ariana or Ariane? I think that was her name. She was doing shows there for a while, and I remember I had to rent the room out through her because that woman Helen, who was renting out the room before, I think she kind of stopped trusting some of us, or at least she stopped trusting me. So I did the Bane show through Mary or Adriana, and then she was friends with some people, and they were like, 25 to Life is in town. They need a show. And she's like, hey, these people are coming to play a show. And I was like, I can't have that happen. And they're like, no, they're coming. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, and it had nothing to do, dude, I love 25 to Life. It had nothing to do with that. It was more all about the financials of the show. Like, I was financially responsible to pay Bane a certain amount of money, blah, 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 blah. But, sure. It was a magical show. You were going crazy. I remember Adam Heckman, Madball was going crazy for 25 to Life. It was rad.
Yeah. I mean, there was still like, that might have been their last hurrah, right? Because before he went like full scab lineup right after that. Because I remember I saw 25 to Life probably, I hadn't moved to San Diego yet. So it was mid 2000s. Might have been 04, 05. It was like when we were going to Billy's all the time. And they played, there was a little hall right next door to Billy's. And I saw 25 to Life play there. And it was terrible. Like, they were just done by then. Like, it was full scabs, and it was just like kind of just whatever punk kids he could get to like kind of play the songs, but like 25 to Life has to sound like a heavy metal band, like, to get their glory. They're not like a punk band. And I like the more punk hardcore songs, like if you remember the song Where It Begins or Make It Work, like those songs are, those songs are ill, but their meat is in like the heavy riffage,
Yeah, Where It Begins is one of my favorite songs they did. But I agree. I think they, aside from being presented like a bunch of, for lack of a better term, a bunch of fucking crazy. I don't want to say scumbag. That's like fucked up. But they look to like a younger kid. They look like fucking scary men from New York City. And then you have them with just kind of like whatever kid that Rick can find at his local show to fill in with them. It's just kind of fucking sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it was a heavy fall off. I'm trying to think of other standout shows at Ojai.
Nerve Agents.
Yeah, Nerve Agents, great. Stalag 13 getting back together was great.
Ill Repute.
Yes, Ill Repute coming back with John.
Saw Ryan slam. Like, I saw Ryan like bully like grown men at that show. He was just slamming, and I think he saw someone like a little older like do something he didn't like, and it was the first time I ever saw him like just straight up like fuck someone up. Like, he was like mad. He was like mad slamming, and I've never really seen him do that before. And there was like two guys that were like bigger than him, and he just fucked them up, and like he was being super confrontational. It was pretty sick.
Hey, you got to blow off steam, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that in the lineage too, like Ojai is kind of popping up when the living room is going away. So like crucial. And I don't remember when Ojai ends.
Well, Ojai ends when Missing 23rd brought the keg to the show, right?
Yes. That's what it was, huh?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, not to point fingers or assign blame, but I mean, that was just, venues shut down. Not every venue stays around forever, but so who cares? But so that would have been summer of 2003, because I remember I was on the road with Terror, And somebody said, well, we can't have shows at Ojai anymore. And I was like, God damn. Oh, well.
You know, I actually went to like the meeting. It was just me and Adrian and then like a bunch of people from Ojai when they were talking about like, well, we were like trying to still have them do shows. And it was wild because it was like everyone had the worst case scenario story that like weren't real. You know, it was like people from the city of Ojai saying like, oh, I went there and I had to step over like a bunch of like dirty syringes, you know?
Oh, give me a break.
Yeah, like shit like that. Or like they saw people like get stabbed and like this and that. And it was just like, me and Adrian, we couldn't like have anything to come back to that because like you can't argue against like bullshit, you know?
No, it's a total
like,
he said, she said, and you guys are probably in your early 20s, and then here's people who own property in Ojai who are like older people. Like they're gonna listen to them before they listen to you.
Yeah, yeah. But bringing the keg, that was a bad move. I totally forgot about that, dude. That blows. Bad look, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, fuck it. You know what though? I mean, when they changed, I don't know what happened. I don't know if the ownership changed or they just changed the person who rented out the place, but Helen was gone and Nails actually, I did a couple more shows in Ojai during the year 2010. Nails did our Unsilent Death record release show there. And I also booked, Lecherous Gaze there. It was so surreal walking back into that building. Did you get a chance to go to any of those shows at that time?
Nah, because if you think about, like, at that time, I'm definitely living in San Diego, and that's a haul.
Oh, for sure. And it's just, like, you know, not to say anything, like, denigrating, but it was just, like, kind of local shows, like, bands that you would probably see on any given weekend. So there's no really reason for you to do the trek. But walking back into that venue was just so fucking surreal and cool. And it kind of brings me to a question right now is, you know, could that place be rented? I think it could be. I don't know how much money it would cost, but it would be pretty cool to throw a fucking show there right now.
Someone just did a show in the last year there, though, didn't they? Like, they just rented it out, like, kind of for a private party?
If they did, I didn't know about it. John told me that they did something like that maybe within the past 5 years. And I think I mentioned, well, you should look into doing something there. And I think he mentioned that it was just kind of too expensive to really make it viable. And who knows how quickly that would get shut down. Maybe it wouldn't get shut down, but part of the magic of Ojai, you know, we're talking about all these great bands that went and played there and the experiences we had. But I think you'll agree is part of what made that place so good was the fact that there was such like a big number of like, you know, young kids who went to shows there and just fucking went ape shit. Like Ojai had like a bunch of grommets that they helped make the shows probably more fun than any of our friends.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like, well, having a club in your area is a catalyst for a scene to like spark, you know, and Ojai at that time, they had like a bunch of like righteous dudes that wanted to slam, you know, it was perfect.
It'd be like if you had a venue on like Silver Strand and all those kids came out and just started fucking shit up, you know, it'd be kind of like that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just things spark in different areas, and like you need that because, you know, there's not always kids following behind every generation, you know. So it's like where we might have been like the youth spark for like a Laser Star in '98, there might not be that spark of the kids right behind us in 2001, but there was in Ojai. Like I saw a great example of that down here in San Diego was. You know, take offense, like they totally like rejuvenated everything down here. And then like when they got a little bit older to where they were like off and touring and had more things going on, like they're turning into adults, turning into like a more functioning band. They're not around to like put on all the shows anymore, you know? And so it kind of like leaves the scene a little bit in a glut because they're not around to play all the shows to draw the kids and they're not there to like put on all the shows. Plus like, you know, you have a bunch of friends that just come out to see them, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So when they're not around, it can like slump a little bit. But then like a few towns over, you know, and a few years later, like Lemon Grove starts popping off. And it's the same thing, like for this other band called PSO. And now they got like 100 of their friends or 50 or 60 or 70 of like their friends that are going to every show for PSO, you know, and then like you have these different little like local bands that can draw, and now there's like, now you have a reason to want to start a band, right? Like, oh, I want to start a band. We can get on this Take Offense show and actually play in front of kids. I want to start a band. I want to get on this PSO show and play in front of kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where if there's no one around, it's daunting. Like when you're thinking like, okay, I want to start a band. We have 0 fans. There's 0 scene and there's 0 club. Like, how do I fucking do this? You know? So,
yeah, definitely with more built-in infrastructure, it just makes it easier for more people to join in and more people to kind of add to the fun.
Yeah, and I think that also, like, at that time, that's like when Annihilation Time is kind of breaking off from Fields of Fire, and like Graham is such like a magnetic personality, and so like it's so easy to get kids fired up around him, you know, and like they kind of like broke off that scene, and that's like a sound that is still like really prevalent in Oxnard.
Yeah, they Annihilation Time definitely kind of started their own culture, and it was fucking cool. It was fucking sick to watch. I mean, there was a whole group of people who surrounded them between Oxnard, Ojai, and Ventura, would always be at their shows, would probably always travel to go see their shows. It was pretty fucking cool to watch the beginnings of Annihilation Time and just kind of see how that like kind of like grew wings of its own.
Yeah. Yeah. Super sick. So that's Ojai. And so this is a subject that you wanted to talk about, which I think is super fucking rad. You wanted to talk about the band ALC from Los Angeles, Another Life Corrupt.
Yeah, Another Life Corrupt was it, and also like Another Lost Cause. Like they would do the thing where they would have like their one acronym may have like multiple meanings. Pretty fucking cool. I saw them my first ALC experience was me and Ryan from Carry On went to the Troubadour. There was like they had a hardcore show there, which was like really rare. But ALC opened, Throwdown played, and then Adamantium, and then Earth Crisis, and you know, Ryan was like an Earth Crisis fan at one point, and it was just a hardcore show, so we just fucking went. And I remember ALC opened the show, and I was blown away because I thought that they did they sounded like a New York hardcore band, but they were from LA, and it was more of like the early 90s New York hardcore stuff, like the more chunkier stuff, as opposed to like the faster shit, like the Youth of Today shit. But they were fucking good.
Yeah, and like the singer was like super energetic. They had Josh, it was just like a super like intimidating figure on guitar. And yeah, cool, wild band.
Tom on bass. Oh no, Tom didn't come in till later. They had another fella, I think was Pat on vocals? Do you remember the vocalist's name?
Pat was on vocals, and then yeah, Tom came in later. Because they kind of just merged into being Scare Tactic, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But with a different singer. Scare Tactic had a different singer.
Yeah.
So I guess, ALC and Scare Tactic were kind of pretty different bands, but a lot of the same guys too. Yeah,
we played this, when Chris Holden left In Control, he went out and he started going to college in Northridge. And he hyped us up. He's like, you got to come out and play like my frat or whatever, like there's this battle of the bands and the winner gets like $500 and this and that, and we're like, fuck yeah, dude, let's go. And so we get out there, and it's there's like one Sublime type band plays, and then like a couple like rappers play, and then like they leave with the PA, and then we're just there. There's no PA. And so, but yeah, Pat from ALC is like, don't worry, dude, I live like 20 minutes away, like I'll go get my PA and be right back. So he like runs off, gets a PA, gets back. And like by the time he gets back, sets up, we're doing like our little sound check shit, and the fucking party gets shut down, and that's it. But that's like those little things, like that's what makes like hardcore, right? Like kind of, you know, when we talk about like a secret handshake, it's like here's a dude that like doesn't know me from fucking dick, you know, at that point, right? But he's like, oh, you're a hardcore man, so let me inconvenience myself by like driving home and loading a PA into my car and coming back to the stupid frat party just to set up for you to play like your stupid 15-minute set, you know?
You'd have a really hard time finding someone who wouldn't demand like $300 to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that goes to show like they were super real cool dudes. Anyway, so get back to the show and fucking it gets shut down. The fucking whoever the MC for the show, he gets on the mic, he's all, yo, 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 this party's been out of control, but here's In Control to play for you on your way out. So we played one song while everyone left. That was it.
Hey, at least you did what you came to do.
Yeah, we came to get paid, but that wasn't even on the fucking. That was not on the docket. And Chris got too drunk and was passed out and didn't even see us play our song. So, whatever. Man, freshman lightweight. Yeah, man. But yeah, ALC. Thinking about like that time, like kind of like this is that weird like in between like the late '90s like PCH-ish time and then like the early 2000s when Terra starts popping. There is kind of like there's nowhere for a band like ALC to like thrive, right? And I think because they're kind of like on the Valley side, like could there have been a shit ton of these bands out there that like they never had a club or a place to like come together and be recognized?
It's possible that happened. It's also possible that maybe they weren't really on our radar or that they did exist and we couldn't find them. I mean, the way we found out about shows was the internet, and also mainly for me was going to record stores and picking up flyers. And like you know that band Downset, like they're from the San Fernando Valley, and I straight up have never seen them. And they're like, I think there's a whole area of LA that there's like a punk rock hardcore culture that like worships Downset and would probably have a lot of bands that sounded like New York hardcore influence that maybe we did, just kind of like how you said, for whatever reason, they just wouldn't have come onto our radar. So I think it's probably more probable than not, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I wonder if like, I don't know, maybe if the Cobalt was more consistent, or maybe if there was some club like that was more for all ages, like in Hollywood. I don't know what would have like popped it off, because they were good, and like it just didn't seem like there was a ton of kids like going to shows at the time. Yeah, just kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there wasn't an audience for them, or maybe just social media wasn't around to organize everything so people could find, all the information they needed about a certain particular thing, and it was just kind of hard to discover.
Yeah, the internet wasn't really popping yet either. It's still like dial up then, because like I remember I didn't get high speed internet till like 06.
Yeah,
so like if you think about this, like that's pretty far after that, because like right now we're talking about ALC would have been like 01-ish, probably 02.
Yeah, summer of 2000 to like maybe summer 2002, and I think it was one of those bands. Had they existed like 2004 to 2006, maybe there would have been like more of an audience for them.
Yeah, because they could have played like the Piece by Piece, Terror, Donnybrook, Internal Affair circuit.
Right.
And would have done well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I lived with Josh in, I think for like 8 months in 03 would have been when I lived in North Hollywood, but I can't really remember. And I think that was like, no, I think he was in Scare Tactic by then. I think ALC was before. Like I'd gotten tattooed by him. Yeah. Okay. So I probably met him in 2000 or 2001 because I was getting tattooed by him, but then I didn't live there until like 03. So who knows? But, Scare Tactic was good too. I think of their best stuff was on the split with Coming Correct. It was like really good.
Nice. They did a split with Coming Correct.
I know. It was like a little late, like it's too late for it to like kind of matter,
Yeah.
But it's still pretty fucking rad.
That's cool. I think Josh is in Arizona tattooing, right? He's got like a family.
I know he moved to Arizona, and I don't know, but I mean that was a decade ago. So
yeah. Two decades almost.
Yeah, right. So I mean, I have trouble keeping up with everyone.
Yeah,
but I do think that it's great, you know, talking about how like that might have been like a weirder time for LA bands. Like, it's cool that a band like Rotting Out is so big now, and this last LP they did again. So we're recording this on May 1st, so it came out 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fucking awesome, super catchy. It's like they write this. The LP is called Ronin, by the way. It's out now. Get it wherever you buy records. So go to revhq.com and get it, or wherever you buy records. But I think that there's so much confidence in this record. Like when I listen to like the first 5-6 songs, it's like they're writing these songs, and it's like they almost know that they're all going to be hits. You know?
Yeah.
Like, do you ever?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's just like, do you ever like write a part and you like picture in your head like what the crowd's gonna be doing at this time when you do this part? Like I can see that in all these songs.
Well, I guess when I write songs, I guess I just kind of think of, you know, if I'm not excited about this, who else is going to be? That's kind of the main thing I think of. But like, I remember when Rotting Out, prior to them playing their first show back, you know, after Walter got out of the country club, they put up that fucking demo song, Reaper, and I listened to it and I was like, wow, this is my favorite Rotting Out song. And, so when the album came out, like I was like, all right, I got to listen to this. And I listened to it and I really like it too. I think it is really good, but you know what, man, that record's super fucking dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's a record that's like, you know, musically it's like upbeat, it's up tempo, it's fucking fast. You could fucking skank to it, slam to it, you could mosh to it. But like lyrically, it's like that's a record. It's like, fuck, dude, these songs are so dark. Like, but then you're gonna see, you know, when Rotting Out plays, there'll probably be hundreds of kids singing along to them, and it's like, oh my god, that was like one of the, aside from, you know, thinking that it was like a fucking energetic record, like that's the second thing I kind of noticed about the record was how dark the lyrical content was.
Well, I just think that there's so much confidence that comes through in the whole record, and that's part of it, right? Like now third LP, it's like he got fully confident, like opening himself up, you know. And I've listened to a fair amount of interviews with him, and he always is good at telling his story and being 100% honest. And this is like him laying it down in like poetry form, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's a hard thing to do, especially when you're, you know, you might be talking about something that you lived through that was like very, very difficult, like a high pressure home. And I don't know, you know, I'm sure the drive for him to talk about those things helped make that record, like, you know, just like you're saying, much more confident sounding and much more like, I mean, Rotting Out's on their third album, so they've found their sound and they know what they want to do. I think with this record, they perfected what they're doing. I think they've done it the best that they've done it, and I think it's their best record. I like it. I jam it like twice a week.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. So go get that, guys. I wanted to talk about the Drain LP too. It came out the same day as the Rotting Out, and the reason why I wanted you to like talk about it was kind of to maybe explain it to me, because I listened to this thing a couple times and it was like not sinking into me like what it is. It's kind of like crossovery, but then it leans like so heavy into the mosh that I think it's like a little more on the mosh side than like the up-tempo crossover side, but then it doesn't have like the like it doesn't sound like a mosh record. Like they made it sound a little more like on the crossover side, and it's done by Taylor Young, so it's obviously like the sound is completely intentional and like what they're going for. And I just thought it's kind of like just a wild, out of control record to like be crossovery, but then lean so hard on mosh, but then not really be a heavy record. It's a pretty out there record, and I love that something so like YOLO is like popular, and I love that something so like YOLO is like on Revelation. You know, that they're doing just putting out bands that are going for it and like have a real wild style.
Yeah, I listened to that Drain record, and I agree with you. It's like I couldn't really figure out what was happening. You know, as far as all the genres and whatnot, I think it sounds like, you know, thrash is like a real happening thing right now. So you know, rightfully so. There's a lot of like younger kids who are like influenced by that stuff, and then of course, you know, if you're into hardcore or whatever, you probably like mosh parts. Some of the mosh parts on that stuff is like, you know, it kind of borders on like beat down to me a little bit. But I read something they wrote somewhere. I can't remember if it was like on their social media page or just somewhere, but it said something to the effect of like, you know, Drain promotes being themselves, no matter, you know, what that is. We just promote having a good time. Something along those lines. I'm not saying it word for word, but like, so what I think about that is it's just like, you know, these are a bunch of, you know, guys who have all these different influences, and they're just simply putting them together. And when a band makes a statement like that, they're usually making it for a reason. So like, I don't know if maybe they've gotten shit for people because they're not like a band that subscribes to like genre restrictions or whatnot. But, you know, I look at Drain, like they got it going on, you know what I mean? They're playing crazy shows, you know, people like their record. It's fucking cool. I just kind of look at it as like a, you know, this is like a culture of people who are carving out their own thing. And, you know, like it might not be something I might not understand. I think it's good. I think it's cool. And I think it's good that any young or any hardcore person out there is out there doing their thing. So I just think it's something like that. They're probably just vibing, having their own fun. The singer of that band plays drums in a band called Gulch, which I'm a fan of. I think that band's real good.
Yeah, that tape thing they did at the end of last year was fucking sick.
Yeah, I like, I don't know, that band's like, they got energy. I don't know. They're going for it.
Plus they got the tie-in with the 185 miles south's favorite band other than Ill Repute, Tsunami.
Wait, what?
You haven't heard of Tsunami yet?
No, what's that?
Oh, dude, you're gonna be stoked. They're one of the best bands on earth. I'll send it to you right after this.
I feel so unincluded. What is it?
It's like a beatdown band out of San Jose.
Oh shit! So some of those Gulch guys are in a beatdown band.
I don't know who's sharing members. It's like kind of, I think it's that clique, like the Gulch, Hands of God, and Tsunami dudes all are kind of like intertwined, right?
I haven't heard Tsunami yet. I'm aware of Hands of God. San Jose's got a real interesting scene. Like, there's like a grind band that came out of that area. You know what it is? San Jose kind of reminds me a lot of like Oxnard, because it's like the people from Oxnard, the people from San Jose are like super, super, super like into tribalism about their own city. And there's also like kind of like a wide berth of punk and hardcore and metal bands, and they all kind of support it all. You know what I mean? Like that's like, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else sees that shit, but it kind of like reminds me of like similar scenes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like Nard is the ultimate example, right? Of like, you know, loving everything from No Motive to Annihilation Time to Nails, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, everybody, not every, you know, everybody's just more open-minded, I think. And that's not to say other cities aren't, but like when I do think of Oxnard compared to other cities, I mean, that is something that I see more prevalent in Oxnard.
Totally. And then you also have like the scenes that like elsewhere are like clickier or like kind of look down on people, you know? And like in Nard, it's not like that. Like if you like a crusty punk from Nard is like still gonna like No Motive. You know what I mean? Like they're not too cool for it. It's like, oh, sick. Or they'll fucking like Cola Boy. Like we kind of like support everything from our town. There's not like I don't know, maybe it comes from, you know, being like a second or third tier city. You know, like we're not a town that like the band's gonna come to on Saturday night. Like we get them on Tuesday or Wednesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we kind of have to fight for it a little bit more.
Yeah, and we're appreciative of like when shit pops. So
Yeah, that's a fact.
let's go into talking about the EP that Aram did. His new
Change.
band Change.
Yeah.
Yeah, you turned me on to this, and this is fucking great, dude.
Oh, I'm glad you like it, dude. Someone texted me. They asked me if I heard it, and I was like, "What is Change?" And I looked it up, and I was blown away. I think it's Ram's, like, his voice sounds real fucking good on that, and the songwriting, like, it goes to places that you don't expect it to go, and it ends up being better than you thought. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, the changes in the record are not expected like a typical hardcore band like that.
No, they go to a full reggae part, dude. That takes like some serious fucking balls.
Yeah.
To be like to be like a white Canadian dude and then break off into a reggae part, like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's like that's some serious balls, and they do it great. It sounds natural and not forced. Like, and I love the way they go into it with like hitting that one note that like has the effect, and it's like, oh shit, that sounds like some other shit, and then they like break into it, and it's like, fucking hey, this shit works, you know. And then there is a lot of creativity on like the fast parts and so forth. I would say that I would compare it the most to like the late 90s like Crucial Response sound, where, you know, like the bands like Eyeball and shit, there just is a little bit more creativity like on the verses to try to like cut things up. Like the Eyeballs, the Sportswears, like they're just putting in like little things to make it more interesting.
Little inflections, like they're really paying attention to the little details to make it special.
Yeah, and they seem like a band where they're gonna like really hone in their craft, and they're gonna be like quality over quantity, and you know, obviously because I think they got 2 songs, right? But
yeah, I'm led to believe that those 2 songs are part of an LP that's going to be coming out later. But I looked like for information on that on the internet, and I couldn't really find anything. But dude, those songs, yeah, that shit's fucking really good. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I just think that you can tell by listening to the 2 songs that like the songwriting is meticulous. So it's like, I don't think there's going to be a ton of output, which is great. Like, exactly what I want from this band is I want like a 10-song LP, you know, where they just like push the boundaries of that genre, and but still like stay like in the pocket. And I'm really excited. I mean, I love when my friends do cool creative things, and I think this is going to be one of them.
Yeah, I think that record's going to hit the fucking spot. I think I'm really I don't know. I keep saying the same thing, but just to echo what you were saying, it sounds like they put a lot of fucking work into it. And I agree with you. I'd rather have, you know, one album with 13 songs and like in a very, like, you know, who knows when they're going to do an album or another EP again. And as opposed to a band that puts out an album every year with, you know, 10 songs on it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the move is 2 songs every 6 months. Keep giving us a little bit, you know, who knows?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You got to do whatever makes you happy, you know, like that's what it's about. Do a band and because you do nails exactly how you want to do it, right? And
yeah,
like,
I can only put out music when it's ready. You know what I mean? I don't want to do it just because it's been 2 years and some industry person dictates that every 2 years you need to have a new record.
Yeah, that's like total bullshit. You know, you got to like figure out something that makes sense for you and is going to last. Like, I like timeless shit.
Yeah, same.
All right. Moving on. Let's just get back into some smaller things. Is anything from Atari worth listening to after the We'll Be Fighting 7-inch and the Growing Stronger song?
Everybody liked that song when it debuted on the Growing Stronger comp, that We're Still Friends song or whatever. I never liked that band. I had one of their shirts and I bought their 7-inches, but like that was a weird band that like I felt like I was supposed to like because all my friends liked them and they were on Teamwork Records.
Yeah. Well, it's like he's doing like an octave like the entire fucking song. It's wild.
I mean, it's cool because it's unique, and they definitely had their own thing. It was like melodic hardcore that was still kind of sounded like, I don't know, but Yeah, that was a weird 7-inch.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely sound like nothing else, right? They're doing like an octave the whole time, and then he's kind of like doing that cheaty thrash beat. So it's like just a little faster than being able to do like double time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wild. All right. What is the greatest death metal debut LP ever?
Oh man, debut LP. Well, the first things I think about are Slowly We Rot or the first Deicide record. Give me a second to think about this. First Cannibal Corpse record. Dude, I don't know. I'm not death metal isn't like my primary genre.
I think that those are two of my favorites, like along with the first Suffocation record. The Obituary and then the Deicide. The Deicide is probably my favorite.
Deicide is more unhinged. Deicide's more unhinged and crazy, and Slowly We Rot is like a hardcore record almost. It's like there's so many like just their tempo choices and stuff, fuck, I can't say one's better than the other, or even bring Cannibal Corpse into the fold. Like, it's hard to say one's better than the other because they're just so different, but they're so good. Yeah,
the Obituary is like, it's also looser. Like I would hate to use the word sloppy because it's not, like, because they're doing it by choice, right? But like,
yeah,
it's a lot looser compared to like the other stuff that's technical, like, you know, comparing it to like Altars of Madness, which is I think the same year. They're both 89.
Yeah, I would agree. Obituary is definitely the more primitive of that batch of bands. Absolutely, like less crazy drumming for sure, and less crazy like left hand riffing.
Yeah, wild. All right, what is the best Nardcore LP?
Plug-in Jesus. Well, hold on a second. The best and my favorite could be two different things. My favorite's the Plug-in Jesus LP, but if you want to look at the LPs from a standpoint of which one has, like, you know, the most value from top to bottom, I mean, Plug-in Jesus isn't an LP, so, but for all intents and purposes, let's just say it is, because front top to bottom, Plug-in Jesus or Ill Repute. I think from front to bottom, the aggression, Don't Be Mistaken, is, I love that record so much. But as far as like that's like more like kind of like has more of like an adolescence like feel to it, like more of like a mid-tempo punk thing, whereas Ill Repute has more of like a Minor Threat type speed and energy to it. Dude, the Ill Repute album, period. That's it. End of story. What happens next? That's a better album.
And the imagery too, right? It adds to it.
Iconic. It's like the image, the front cover looks like a guy who just got out of an Ill Repute pit, right? Like just some dude, just like some fucking shaved head fucking surfer on Silver Strand who went to a show and slammed to Ill Repute, and then somebody took a picture of him. Iconic, striking. Like, everybody knows that cover. And that's not to say that, dude, Don't Be Mistaken, that's such an iconic album cover too.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely,
man.
with the skateboarder on it. So early to work in that skateboarding like iconography.
What punk record had a skateboard on it before that? And that's not like, I legitimately want to know, like, what is it? Maybe Aggression had the first fucking punk record with a skateboard on it. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Of course, I'm gonna get blasted with the truth like right after this airs. But it's the first one I can think of.
Yeah.
It predates JFA, Blatant Localism, I think. Because Aggression's 83 and that's probably 84, 85. But yeah, again, I don't know. Does a Floor Punch 7-inch really sound better on gold?
Yes. No, it doesn't sound better. Okay. No, it doesn't. I have mine framed. I can't even listen to it. So.
All right. Well, does the OLC sound better on green?
It sounds better after you smoke some green.
I can jump ahead on that one. Indica or sativa?
Oh, sativa all the way. I want to, and I don't want to go right to sleep. I want to kind of enjoy myself. That's why I choose sativa.
You're a thinking man. It's a thinking man's weed.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I kind of want to do.
Smoke weed every day.
All right. Which white nationalist has a better voice, Ian Stewart or Morrissey?
Oh God. that's a great. Oh man, if I answer that question, I'm gonna be accused.
You don't have to.
Yeah, we'll skip that one.
That's just for the Morrissey fans. If you don't love Warzone, don't forget the struggle, don't forget the streets. Can you really love hardcore?
No. You got As One, you got We're the Crew, you got the title track. That's hardcore, right? I mean, there's a lot of different genres, or there's a lot of different types of hardcore, but the spirit of hardcore and what the spirit of hardcore is lays in that record. And if you can't find it in that record, that's okay. There's no problem with that. I just, and this isn't like an arrogant thing. It's just like, I don't know what I could really talk to you about in regards to hardcore. That's all.
Yeah. If you can't pull a piece out of that record that you love, then no, you don't.
Yeah. I think that's a fair statement. Me and you aren't really like arrogant guys, but in regards to that, that's just a fact. That has nothing to do with arrogance or selfishness. That's just kind of a fact.
Yeah. I mean, you can just love the lead of fighting for your country. And if you connect to that and love that so much, then hey, whatever. You love Warzone, you love hardcore.
Dude, As One is going to make you want to slam, period.
No shit, dude. Come on. That's one of the greatest hardcore tracks of all time.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Bad Brains record, and what do you think is the best Bad Brains record?
Sure. So my favorite would probably be... That's a hard one because it's between Rock for Light and the Roar sessions, but I probably like Rock for Light better, and I know that's not the popular opinion. Quickness is a really fucking good record. It's a really fucking good record. That Rock for Light sounds like a compilation to me, just a compilation of songs, not like a record that was sequenced front to back. It just sounds like the first 15 to 20 Bad Brains songs, as Roar does. That's not to take away from them or to take away from their greatness. But as far as a fully sequenced album, I would say Quickness. Quickness is probably my favorite. Not my favorite. Rock for Light's my favorite, but Quickness is probably the best sequenced, probably is in regards to top to bottom flow and listenability from front to back.
Awesome. Is Matt Henderson the greatest American hardcore songwriter of all time?
Well, he did write a verse consisting of one note, a whole fucking verse. Streets of Hate is one note.
Yes.
So I'd be hard pressed to find anybody else who can be considered a great songwriter who's written a whole part of a song with one note. So if somebody told me that Matt Henderson was the greatest songwriter, American hardcore songwriter, it just couldn't be. I couldn't argue with them. Put it that way.
Yeah. I agree. I think that, man, that catalog, Jesus Christ. I can't think of anything that's close.
He has a lot under his belt. Even the Blind Approach 7 inches that he did before he was in Agnostic Front were pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I mean he's soloing on them. They're fucking great. I enjoy them a lot.
I got a chance to meet him with Sergio once, and it was a very quick conversation. That's a guy that I wish I could just sit down and talk to, and because I would love to hear about his experience in Berkeley School of Music.
Yeah, do you remember that? Did you ever read that Double Cross interview?
Yeah, I did. That was great.
That was the greatest thing ever. I'll have him on here at some point soon. But yeah, I would love to hear you pick his brain. Maybe we should tag team that one.
Dude, I'm down.
Like,
I'll if you do that in San Diego, I'll drive over there. If you do that where Matt lives, I'll drive over there. Wherever you want to do.
Cool. That'd be a good one. Which Minor Threat 7-inch is better of the first two?
Ah, man, I have a lot of baggage with those records, just like a lot of emotional baggage. Because Filler is the first thing I ever heard by them. Well, I first heard the discography CD, right? But it starts with Filler. So, but which one's better from top to bottom? Fuck, In My Eyes. Just because the song In My Eyes, like I don't know if there's a song that's as good as In My Eyes on the Filler 7-inch. And then also Guilty of Being White. That song's fucking great.
Well, I don't know if there's a song as good as In My Eyes ever again.
Yeah, that's like the apex of hardcore music, sort of, right? I mean, there was nothing like that was the pinnacle of it, the zenith.
Yeah.
Probably In My Eyes.
Yeah, it's
7-inch.
hard. Yeah, I think I'm going Filler just because more songs. But,
you can't not a losing decision in that question.
No, impossible question. All right, dude, we're down to just 2. Again, this is like the Bad Brains one. Tell me, what is your favorite Slayer record, and also what do you consider the best Slayer record, if they're not the same?
It would be Rain and Blood. The first one I heard is Seasons in the Abyss, and up until like 10 years ago, I was a Seasons in the Abyss guy, but I've turned around to Rain and Blood, and the reason why I think Rain and Blood is the best Slayer record is because from top to bottom, finish to end, there's simply no record, not even a Slayer record, that comes close to the intensity that they put out on that record. And although Angel of Death, the song Raining Blood and Angel of Death are their 2 biggest songs. I think Raining Blood is bigger than Angel of Death, but the fact that those songs are their biggest songs, and I don't think a single song on that record was written to be a single or written to be a quote unquote hit for them. I think that's the most savage record of all time, front to back. It's the most it's the example of music where something is so extreme but so catchy and easily listened to that I've ever heard, and I just love Rain and Blood.
Yeah, I mean the production is so bright and perfect. You hear everything, and then like, you know, the two biggest songs, like at least they kind of bookend the album, right? If those are like the 2 songs that you're the most familiar with, so it's like you always have that meat in the middle, you know, and then like Altars of Sacrifice and Jesus Saves, like holy fuck, that might be my most favorite heavy metal moment ever.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal transition, man. Like to listen to and just to think about, like if like you're a person who's creative and you write songs and shit, like it's like holy shit, that's so fucking good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna leave it on this one. What's more beautiful, a prime Jenna Jameson or Corey Williams Blue Les Paul?
Corey Williams Blue Les Paul for sure. Prime,
yes, sir.
Whenever I think of prime Jenna Jameson, I think of Roger. I don't think I knew who Jenna Jameson was until I've met Roger.
I was just trying to come up with like a pretty one, like a pretty woman for the swerve. I couldn't. I don't know who I should have gone with. Who should I have gone with?
I don't know, but I liked Corey's Blue Les Paul. I always thought that was like a really beautiful looking guitar. I'd like that like kind of like dark blue with like the black pickups and everything like that. It was a really good style.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who I pitched up against it. That was going to be the answer.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll choose guitars over girls, I guess.
All right, dude. I think that was fun.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Very much so. It was a great time.